Alright, so it is that time of year. Can you stop reading in every review?
Okay. What's up, guys?
Hey, it is
It's
the
Summer
end of.
Chief here.
It is the end of. No, it's 2018 now.
It's 2018 now. Come on, get with it, man.
But I wanted to see a couple movies before I made my top 10 list because there's some movies that just was on everybody's list, and I was like,
still need to see 5, but whatever.
No, whatever. But we have our list. There are a lot of movies I have on this list that I have not reviewed on this channel, and that was either because they were earlier in the year and I wasn't really doing YouTube. I took a break from it for a while, or it was because I had seen the movie too late and I was like, it's kind of too late to review this movie. Nobody really cares. But is there anything what you would like to say before we start this wholesome video?
We could say honorable mentions.
But that's the start of the video. Is there anything you'd like to say before that?
Oh yeah. Well, you mean my
disclaimers?
Okay. Well, my number 1 is a bit
Okay, that doesn't matter.
No. But it came out in the U.S. last year, and it came into Canada and Europe this year.
We live in Canada, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All you Canadians will get this if you saw the movie, which nobody really did, but you should because it's awesome. Here we go.
Anyways, so how this is gonna work is we're both gonna. So we are gonna start with the honorable mentions, but I'm gonna say my honorable mentions first. Talk about them. He's gonna say them, and then when we get into our list, I'll say my number 10. He'll say his number 10, and we'll go like that. So, let's get into this. I'm going to start with the honorable mentions, which I don't have memorized. I forgot them all. My honorable mentions of 2017 are Patriots Day, Get Out, Gifted, Wind River, Coco, and Thor Ragnarok. About that last one, people are going to hate on me for that one, but there were some other, there was a couple other superhero movies that I liked better, you know. Sorry.
I saw this yesterday. Darkest Hour. My dad fell asleep. My brother almost wanted to leave the theater in this one. There was a couple of people that left and didn't return because I don't know. It was just talking, but it was really good. Brad's Status. I watched that tonight. That was. Whew. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And Baby Driver. Yeah,
nice.
Baby Driver would have been number 11.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, we got those out of the way. Great movies. Now, I'm going to say 2017 has been really, really, really good for movies. Like, honestly, 2016 was also a really, really good year. But this year, I've just been so into movies, man. And I've just been wanting to see so many. And there's still some that I haven't seen, which is still amazing. Like some that are still, I've heard that are really good that I haven't seen. But here we are. This is our list as of now. And I'm going to start off with my number 10, Baby Driver. This movie was a blast. Like you sort of made this whole genre called musical action or something like that. But it is, the way the music was worked into the action sequences and all the acting and everything in this movie. Ansel Elgort was great, and I just loved pretty much every minute of this movie.
Lily James.
Yeah.
Sorry. Alright. Okay, starting off number 10, I have The Disaster Artist. I watched this one last night, and I thought, I had heard all the great reviews about it, and I think the best part of the movie, the one that I remember the most is, I think the relationship between Greg and Tommy. It's really endearing, and it really makes you feel like you can do something. You're like, yeah, guys, you get it. And I don't know if it makes me feel like I can make a movie because we've tried that, and fine, but we don't have $6 million.
It wasn't as long. It wasn't as long. It wasn't even really a movie.
Yeah, and it was pretty funny. And it was,
it's on this channel.
Yeah, well, it feels like, like there's some parts that do get me, where I'm like, it's kind of going downhill. This is kind of tough to see.
Yeah.
So, That is my number 10.
That's interesting. Yeah, the Disaster Artist. It was really just something different for me because before the Disaster Artist, everybody was just kind of like Tommy Wiseau, this random guy. He's so stupid. Like, he made this movie. Like, it's so bad. Like, what was he thinking and everything? But when you watch this movie, it's really inspirational. But, I'll talk about it later. It's somewhere on here. Um, Spoiler alert. But, so my number 9 of 2017 is SpiderMan Homecoming. In my opinion, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man, and this was a very unique Marvel film in my opinion. It was also very funny, but the way it was done was just so great, and in my opinion, it is the best Spider-Man movie, and I just had a blast with it.
Alright, my number 9 is Blade Runner 2049. When I was watching this, and I know the runtime was really long. Some people were like, "Oh, if you just shaved off some time, it would have been like it would have hit that Goldilocks zone where you're like, okay, I was content with that." It never felt like it dragged. There was one scene where I was like, "Wow, this is going on for a while. I think you know what I'm talking about." And but it made me feel like I was watching this grand, huge, like crazy blockbuster that everybody had. Like, everybody loved it, and when I went into it, then I loved it afterwards. And I don't think it's better than the original Blade Runner, but Ryan Gosling as K was, I think, my favorite part of the movie, just because, I don't know why, I shouldn't have, but I related to him, just because he kind of seemed like a dude. He kind of seemed like some average dude who was kind of he was figuring out what he wanted to do with his life, but he was also questioning a lot of things about himself, and I question things about myself sometimes, and so it spoke to me. That's what I was gonna say. It spoke to me.
Yeah. My number 8 is, as I had mentioned earlier, The Disaster Artist. I love this movie very much. Once again, like I said, people just viewed Tommy Wiseau as this meme before The Disaster Artist came out. But after this movie, like near the end, when everybody is sort of like responding to the room, I really felt for him. Like, I knew it was going to happen. Everybody knew it was going to happen. It's not a spoiler or anything, but when he leaves the theater and sort of, I won't spoil what happens, but there are many moments in this movie where you really think that, yeah, Tommy Wiseau has been a dick to a lot of people, but he really is also sometimes this pathetic person that, like, and you really feel for him because you know that what he's doing is really not the best, but at the same time, you know he's trying, and you really relate to him in that way. And all the performances were great. James Franco as Tommy Wiseau was absolutely fantastic, and so was Dave Franco as Greg Sestero. And I love the fact that, and like, of course, the book was from the point of Greg Sestero as well, but I love the fact that it was from the point of view of him, because him as the main character, in my opinion, was like really, really cool as well, because in a way I related to him as well in some things that happened throughout the movie with him. But yeah.
Yeah, he really melted into that role. After a while, I was like, well, this is still James Franco. Wow.
Yeah.
Alright, my number 8, is a movie that I forgot about for a while, and I watched it near the beginning of the year, and when I remembered, when I looked at my list, I was like, oh yeah, right. Is it A Monster Calls or The Monster Calls? It's A Monster Calls. And so Liam Neeson as a giant tree who comes to this struggling child. I think this was probably the most sad movie that I watched this year, and I almost cried at the end.
That's actually A Monster Calls is another honorable mention of mine. Yeah.
I was this close, dude. I felt for the main character so much at the end. I was like, oh, okay, this is good. And just I love the tree monster because he helps the child through a lot of situations, and everything was just so dreamlike. And I was like, this is an experience.
Yeah.
That is my number 8.
So my number 7 is a movie that I think a lot of people did like this movie, but I don't think anybody liked this movie enough to put it on their list. I know he hasn't seen it yet, but this movie is. Are you gonna try to guess?
I'm trying to guess, man. I can't guess. Go.
All right, this movie is Wonder. I absolutely love this movie. You know, of course, we as kids, we all read the book. You know, it was a very
It was only
popular.
like 2 years ago. Oh no, 3 years ago for me. But whatever. Go on.
We were pretty much kids, but I mean, we're not that much. We're not adults now. Okay, yeah, we get it, but we're teenagers now. But we had all. It was a very famous book, Wonder, and the movie really, really captured it well for me. The way that Jacob Tremblay portrayed Augie, even with all the prosthetics and makeup, all his acting and everything was just so great for me, because I just really felt from the whole way through, and even at the end, I really cried with everybody. And he probably wouldn't, because he doesn't cry in any movie.
I feel like a hardened bastard, man. I don't know why.
So many movies where everybody cried, he didn't cry in. But, you know, that's fine, buddy. You know, some things you might have cried in, and nobody cares. All right? Anyways. But I really, hold on. But I really loved Wonder, and I think all the performances in the movie were also great. And also, all the characters in the movie, Augie's sister, I liked her story and everything, but I feel like the main bully in the movie, Jillian, he wasn't bad, but he could have been a little better, but he was still good. But I think if I were to nitpick on this movie, that would be like basically the only issue I had with it. But I really love this movie, and that's what makes it my number 7.
7. Yeah, 7. I was about to say 6. Okay, and then here's another really emotional movie by the end. Yeah, everybody was like, because I understand that, and it's Coco. Coco, man, this movie took me like by surprise. Like we reviewed this movie, right? Yeah, and so I knew this was gonna be good because it's Pixar, it's Disney, and I was like, it's gonna be a fun family. But no, man, this is something different. This flipped everything on its like freaking head, and I was watching it, and I was like my mouth was open for like at least a straight minute. At some of these parts, the voice acting in this movie, holy God. I never really touch on voice acting a lot, and I never really notice it as a thing that stands out. I mean, I know the characters, I like the characters, but I never say the voice acting is great, and I never say the voice acting is as fantastic as this was. The songs were good, and, you know, Coco was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think both of us, before we had watched Coco, we just thought it was going to be another Pixar movie that was sort of the same as every other Pixar movie, but it really was something different that hit home for both of us.
And we were kind of pissed off because of the stupid Frozen short that has been taken out of theaters now because everybody hates it. Good.
Yeah, we're just like, nobody cares, dude. We were just making fun of everything that happened, and he even he even called Olaf Joloff, and I'm like, dude, and he's like, oh, that's how much I care about this. Anyways, I'm gonna move on to my number 6. My number 6 is a movie that a lot of people liked, and I think is going to be an Oscar contender.
Wait. You already said Wind River. Did you watch 3 Billboards? No. Oh, hold on. It's not Lady Bird. Go. I got nothing.
Dunkirk
God
is
damn it!
my number 6. I would say what I said in my review was I didn't really care too much about the characters in Dunkirk, but as I thought about the movie more, I really realized that it wasn't about that in this movie. It was just about being in the moment with all the war that's going on and just sort of understanding everything. And in IMAX, man, the gunshots were so real, and I was like, I was like, even in the beginning, like the very beginning of the movie, like somebody shoots a gun, and I was like, whoa!
Yeah,
it was so
was
loud.
No!
It was like,
there goes the chair.
Like pretty much every gunshot in Dunkirk was like a jump scare to it. But it was so well done, and again, Christopher Nolan, another great job. But that is my number 6. Or what is it?
6. Oh, yeah, 6.
6.
6. Alright, my number 6 is a movie that I've been anticipating since 2013. 2013, like, I enjoyed the first movie. The second movie was like, this is one of the best things I've ever seen. And number 6 is Thor Ragnarok. I've been waiting for this movie for such a long time because from 2013, all I was doing was looking at movie news of like, oh, I wonder how far they in like production. And I was like, oh, it should be done by now. Like in 2014, I was like, we've been waiting so long. It finally came, and this was like the most comic booky movie I've ever seen. It was so much fun. Thor, of course, it was a comedy, and I thought almost everything landed. Almost everything had me in stitches, except one joke at the end, which is. But I love how the Hulk was like.
Yeah, he had a lot of moments to shine in this movie.
Yeah, because I recently read like a bunch of Hulk comics, and I was like, oh, I wish I could kind of see that on screen because I like just the Hulk that is like the Beast who can't really communicate, but in this one he can, and I was like, whoa, this is like what I read. This is cool because I liked Planet Hulk. I read Planet Hulk, and there was some stuff in there with and the action, of course, is great, and Loki, I actually felt for him, which is I like Loki. He's a great villain, but I actually felt for him near the end, which is good.
My number 5.
I was about to say mine. I was like, mine.
My number 5 is, just guess.
Come on, man. You already said Spider-Man. You already said. I got it. It's the War for the Planet of the Apes.
My number 5 is War for the Planet of the Apes. I'm gonna try to guess yours now. Now my number 5 is War for the Planet of the Apes. It is the best out of the 3, and it does perfectly conclude it and make it a great trilogy. But once again, Andy Serkis as Caesar was great. All the CGI, pretty much, like every single ape is, so it all looks really, really great. And I love the fact in War for the Planet of the Apes that it was slower, and it wasn't just this, like, although, people were like, the title was misleading and everything, there was no big war, bro. But there wasn't, yes, but I really liked the slow moments in this movie, and the moments, I think there were moments it really needed, and it really made it a different film. But it's just a great movie.
Enough said. Alright, what do you think my number 5 is?
I will say that your number 5 is, wait, can you tell me your 10 through 6?
What?
Can you tell me your 10 to 6?
Alright, it was Disaster Artist, Blade Runner 2049, Monster Calls, Coco, Thor, and what?
Okay, hold on. Is it Dunkirk?
Da. I mean, Niet. Niet.
Go ahead.
My number 5 is Logan.
Oh, okay. Well,
and, man. Okay, so this was gratifying, man, because you know what? I've always wanted to see a bit more bloodshed when Wolverine starts slicing people up. Because you know what? I like almost every X-Men movie besides X-Men Origins Wolverine and X-Men 3, which is fine, but it's just... And the Wolverine, I never saw the rated R version because my dad didn't let me, and that was a long time ago, so... This movie had a copious amounts of blood. And Hugh Jackman, bro... This is his last one. No, he's got to have like a cameo in Deadpool 2. I'd be content with that.
Like they were talking about him being in Avengers 4, but he was like, nah.
No, yeah,
but
it's a lot on him now because he's a bit older now.
But
yeah,
people have been predicting that like only Patrick Stewart will be nominated for an Oscar. What about the Wolverine himself? Patrick Stewart was absolutely amazing as well, but
well,
I feel like Hugh Jackman.
I can see why, because he almost had to take a different like form, because it was not like he was like healthy. It was more of an artsy performance, which I can see that. But the whole journey, I when I watched this movie, I thought it was really great. But then I watched it again, and I bumped it up because I just realized the whole journey felt like an epic. It was like when it ended, it felt like I had been watching like a TV show for 10 years, but I just watched a 2-hour movie, and the blood, man, the limbs.
All right, let's talk about a very, very different movie from that. My number 4 is Logan. So, and yeah, the blood was just. I loved how they, but I think it really is because of Deadpool, and I really love Deadpool. I love Deadpool for making, Logan rated R. Also, from the trailers of Logan, I had really thought that, okay, this is just going to be completely serious. There are moments of fun in it. Yeah. We actually laughed. The serious moments that are needed are there. The funny moments that are needed are there. He's said a lot already about this movie, but what I can say is that the performances were great, and it's one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. And,
I'd say, yeah, me too. It was like when, that Batman movie? That one everyone talks about? The Dark Knight?
What's The Dark Knight?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Might be my favorite movie. It is. And so that was what I never watched that in theaters because it was 2008. But everyone was like, that was different. It wasn't corny and super action filled. My number 4, right? 4? My number 4?
Yeah.
Is it 4? Yeah. Okay.
I got confused because I thought like you just talked about Logan and then you're like, and then it was my turn. I was like, wait, I just talked about Logan. And then
my 9 number 4.
Wait, I'm gonna guess this.
You've already said it though.
It should be it, right? No, you're not gonna do that.
Oh yeah, that was an honorable mention. It's an honorable mention. Now,
It is an honorable mention of his. All right.
Yes. Okay. Number 4. What do you think it is? You've already said it.
I have. Dunkirk.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I say this is the most in the moment movie I watched because, dude, I don't usually get scared at the movie theaters like in the horror movies, of course, but this was the most. I was scared in this more than I was scared in it. Dude, I was like, oh, this is really intense. Though the action scenes, man, they're so freaking real. They're real, man. Like, and I didn't gravitate to any of the characters, of course, but I gravitated to their cause, like what they were doing, and I wanted everybody to get off that stupid beach. And if you watch The Darkest Hour, yeah, it ties in very well to Dunkirk. When I was watching Darkest Hour, I was like, he said Dunkirk. Oh, they're doing the thing that they had to do. So yeah, that was cool, and especially I think my favorite parts were with Tom Hardy in the fighter jet. I love how when he shot the guns, it wasn't like flashy movie gunfire. You couldn't see it, but you knew it was gonna bring down the enemy planes. And I was like, this is just amazing, and it was an amazing movie.
My number 3 is a movie that I think a lot more people should have seen. You can probably guess it easy. Oh, come on, man.
Oh, I know, wait, hold on. A lot of people should have seen. You've said that like 5 times.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, no.
I've never said that once.
It's like, when did it come out, bro? At least give me a little bit. Come on.
My number 3 is Blade Runner 2049.
A lot of people saw that. They made like how much money at the box office?
I think it should have made more.
All right.
A lot more. And that's what everybody has said as well. It's just it made enough, but I feel like more people should have seen it because this was a very different movie. And the thing that probably made not as many people see it was the fact that it was very slow. But I really appreciated that about this movie. The visual effects in this movie are some of the best.
Yeah, I forgot to say. I was just thinking that. I forgot to say that. I'm sorry. I've disgraced it. I'm sorry. The visuals, bro.
The visual effects were some of the best.
Like, period. Best.
Ever.
Best.
But, Ryan Gosling as Kay, we all know Ryan Gosling is a good actor, but you girls can't just say because of the romance movies and whatever, all that stuff.
Get that out of your head.
But La La Land is my favorite movie. But but Ryan Gosling even in his action movies, he's always been so great. In Blade Runner 2049, he plays a very different sort of character that I really liked, and like he said, I related to. And Harrison Ford as well as Rick Deckard, I think he did it better than he did in the first one, his performance in Blade Runner 2049, because I really feel like it was sort of a Rick Deckard who is sort of just tired, and he's seen everything he has to see, and Ryan Gosling is just sort of the new Deckard, and I just really appreciated everything this movie had to offer, and by the time it ended, I just sat there in silence.
Alright, so, my number 3 is the most fun I had in the movie theater, and not to say my number 2 and number 1 weren't fun, but this was just, like, pure fun. I was like, laughing so hard, my sides were hurting, oh man, it was such a blast. What do you think it is?
SpiderMan Homecoming.
Yeah, SpiderMan Homecoming, that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
And it's not like I was like, oh, we need a good Spider-Man movie. Actually, we kind of did. And, so, I think the Vulture is, besides Loki. It goes Loki, the Vulture, and Ultron were the best Marvel villains. Dude, the Vulture. The second time I watched it, I was like, this is so... I want to read everything there is about the Vulture.
Yeah, that scene in the car, I was, like, scared.
Dude, okay,
it was scary.
You know what? This movie had a moment where the whole theater, we were laughing at a joke, and, like, the fun music was playing, and as soon as the doors opened, the whole theater went... And it just shut up. Everybody was like...
Yeah.
And then I was the one that I was the one that was like... I was like, oh... And everybody was like, started laughing because they were like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I will say that reveal is kind of cliched.
I don't know why I didn't expect it at all.
But I didn't expect it. For some reason we didn't